Hello, and welcome to the second training session for the CAP system. Today we're going to cover email and the news bulletin board on the administrator's site. I'll be including detailed sections on email formatting and creating and managing distributed mailing lists. So let's get started by first opening an internet browser. I'll be using Google Chrome today. We can use our shortcut we created in the last session to get to the My Networks tab of the administrator's site, and then we'll navigate to our inbox. I'm signed in as an account that has been created for this demo. There are some emails in my inbox. I'll just start with an explanation of what can be done here. On our email, we can select these little checkboxes to the left of each message to select one or any number of messages, and then do the same action to them. There's options to move our emails between folders. We can mark it as unread to treat it as a new email. Our inbox will show that we still have new email to get our attention. The first thing we're going to do is we'll click on the link on the inbox page to configure an auto signature. A new screen appears listing the name we provided. Here we are, TenCap D Administrator. We can see that we may also set other signatures, but we won't be messing with that today. We should make some space above our signature for our message. We'll put our name in capitals, TenCap Administrator. Then we'll put our title, Administrator. And we'll put our company name, TenCap Sports LLC. Now we click Save. It immediately shows us a new message with our signature included. It will do this for all new emails we send out from this website. If you're wondering how I got this text so closely together, I pressed Shift and Enter when I was creating a new line instead of just hitting Enter. The editor will treat lines separated this way as a group. As you can see, when we go to indent the top line, the editor indents all three lines we just typed. We'll go to our mail folders now. Let's get back to our email box. We see here we have some folders on the left. We have a folder called Inbox. That's where we end up by default. We also have this section called Drafts. You can see I have stuff saved in there. As the title suggests, we will be making a newsletter today. When you save a draft of an email that you're working on, it will automatically be put in this folder. We also have sent items and deleted items. Anything you send gets placed in your sent messages folder. If you delete a message by ticking the box to the left and then pressing delete, as I'm doing now, the message will go to the deleted items folder unless you click delete forever. If you do that, then a box will pop up asking you to confirm the deletion. We can choose to cancel from that screen to keep our message. Next, we're going to create a custom folder to put our newsletter in, imagining that these are the types of things we send out often. Custom folders can be useful for sorting similar items. We press the green button to add a folder, and then we can give it a name, Newsletters. Now that it has a name, we can go to our new folder. We see that it has nothing in it now, but now we can go back to our inbox folder and we can click this box to select our message. Then select Move To, and as we can see, Newsletters is now an option. We won't move anything now, but we will put our newsletter in there later. Now that we've toured around the inbox page, we'll start creating our newsletter. We're going to click Compose a Message. The From line reads TenCap Administrator, and we can choose also to make the From field read like we are sending a message from our demo network. Since we are making a newsletter, we'll write it on behalf of our club. When we select our club, we see that our signature will not go on the letter. Below the From line, we can choose some recipients. Who will I send it to? Well, I can always send something to myself. I start typing the name for this account, and then a list pops up, and I can select myself. Now I'll click Add To in order to add my own account as a direct recipient of this letter. Who do I send as the carbon copy? My boss, of course. I start typing in his name, and his account pops up so I can select Martin Glover with my mouse. Next is BCC, the blind carbon copy section. The people here will not be able to see whom the message was sent to originally. Other people on the same list, the To field, or the CC field. This is very useful for something like a newsletter where you have to send it out to many people and don't want one bad apple using the names on the list to send spam messages. I'm going to type our little shortcut that we learned last session. I type everyone at, and it comes up with this email distribution list that's already generated for us. We select the list, everyone at TenCap Demo UK, so all of the accounts on the network will get our message. Next, we click Add BCC, and we're ready to send out the email. There's this button here that says Select an Email List. If I click that, it pops up with a screen of lists I can choose from. Everyone at TenCap Demo UK is one of those lists. We'll learn about email distribution lists later in this session. Browsers, you cannot click from that pop-up screen, and you'll have to actually type out the name of the list to add it to CC or BCC, as we just did with ourselves and our boss. We are ready to start with the creation of our newsletter. We'll create. That's also the first thing we type into the body of the email. Fall, season, schedule. Now that we have some text to work with, we're ready to format it. The first thing that concerns us is this button all the way on the left with the magic wand icon called Style. We click it and we can see the following. Normal, which is the style we have now. Quote, which will offset our text. To remove this quote style, I will have to delete the text or just press Ctrl and Z or Command and Z on an Apple device to undo my last action. This line is going to be the header for our newsletter, so we choose Header 1 from our list of styles. The line is a good size, but it is taking up most of my screen already, and we'll be making a big newsletter today. The first little trick we'll see is that we can resize the entry field for the email content. Come down here, highlight over this gray area at the bottom of the box with 3 lines. Now the mouse turns into 2 vertical arrows, and we can drag the bar to resize and give ourselves more space to work with. As you can see, Header 1 in our Style menu automatically chose bold for us and gave us a certain font size. Our font type is still Arial, and I'll change that to Impact just to give it a different look. On Firefox, when we save a draft of an email, the font style selection will disappear. That's why I'm in Chrome for this demonstration. I'm going to click Paragraph and then select Align Center, which places the text in the center. Let's make it a little festive. It's fall, so let's make it look like fall. I'm choosing the color button here, and we see sections for background color and foreground color, the color behind the text, and the color of the text itself. I'll choose cinnamon for the background, and I'll choose Buddha Gold for the foreground. Now we see our line, Fall, Season, Schedule. It's bright, it pops out, it catches attention. Let's do something fancy and change the first letter of each of these words to the opposite color scheme just to make it stand out a little more. And there we have our first header. We press enter and we see a big space was created with a big cursor. Why? Because our style is still header 1. So we'll choose header 2 with our blinking cursor on the line we want to change, and that automatically adjusts it to something smaller. Now that we have a certain look we would like to repeat, it's a good time to put in our other headings, and it will create an outline for us of sorts. So let's add events and leagues. They come out in the color scheme we used earlier. Our last color is saved in our system, so we can highlight the first letter of both these words and just press the last color button once to repeat the look we created. Our next entries will be under the headings of events and leagues. We choose style, header 3, which is one size smaller. We'll add text indicating some made-up events, a fall food drive, and a haunted clubhouse. Now I'll highlight both of those and hit recent color, and it automatically changes the font to the reverse of what we've been using. I'll stop the alternating colors. We'll do the same thing and add some leagues, both a seniors league and a juniors league. Once again, we select the last color and we have our headings. We don't want to lose our work, so we're going to press Save Draft. We have our headings. I think they look pretty good, but I'm not satisfied. We'll add images. We'll be putting in something of a divider between our sections. I'll click the picture button within our toolbar and insert a picture. Now I have already found some art that I have permission to use, and I'll select that from my computer's storage device. It's quite large. We can just resize it by clicking this box in the lower right corner, allowing us to change the height and width at the same time, and drag it up and to the left to make the image smaller. It's a vector drawing, so it allows us to resize the image without distorting it too much. Some browsers, specifically Microsoft Edge, will make these images look choppier when they're resized, so feel free to experiment. We have a different image we'll use for events and leagues. Hit enter again, hit normal, and do the same thing with a different picture. Once again, we resize. Now we can actually copy this image by pressing Ctrl and C. We then come down to leagues, press enter to create a space, and now select Style Normal, and I'll press D to paste the image we just copied. The editor might change the background of an image to the background color we used for the text earlier. If it does, we just select the image and then set the background to transparent and the foreground color to black. We'll put another space just to differentiate our events from our leagues, and we'll change the style on the new line to normal. We'll save again before our next topic. I've written some text to add to this newsletter already using an external text editor. I'll go copy that text and paste it here. I'll add a space under the header, select normal as a style, left align our new line. You can see we have a text blurb here talking about a fall food drive. The text refers to a link within, or just donate online by clicking here. We need to make the word here send our readers to the page we want them to see. Double-click the word to select the word. That's another trick. Double-click to select one word, triple-click to select a paragraph. We double-click to select the word here again, and now we hit the link button in the toolbar. We don't have a website set up for this demo, so we'll just type fakefallfooddrive.com and leave the option selected to open in a new window. When I click the link, it opens in a new window. For me, it's a new tab due to my browser settings. And we get sent to an address for a site that doesn't exist, just like we expected. You always want to check that your links go to the correct pages before sending out an email. Now we'll enter the text for our haunted clubhouse. Preserve our spacing, press enter, select normal, align left. Now we're ready. As you can see, there's some formatting that's already been done to this text. That's our next tip. When you use an external text editor, most of the settings will transfer over, even for font types that aren't selectable from the toolbar. Just like the paragraph above, we are in Times New Roman font and we have a line in bold. Also, we have something in italics. We'll keep the bold style on the text telling us that entry is free for members. I want the lines listing prices to look a little less important. I'm going to put them close together and indent them. I'll press backspace on the second line and then shift and enter to put them closely together. We hit the paragraph button and select indent, and the editor moves both lines slightly to the right. That will be all for our. Now we're going to scroll down to leagues, click to place the cursor on the line and press enter, select normal style, and we're going to make a table so we keep it center aligned. To make a table, we click the table button in our toolbar. We're going to make it 7 by 3. We just move our mouse to have 7 columns and 3 rows. Now I'll fill this out with days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It seems we missed a label for our bottom 2 rows, but we can edit that on the fly by adding a new column. To do so, we click in the box next to where we want to add our column, and then select Add a Column to the left. It adds the column and we label it AM and PM. This technique works for adding columns to the left and right, and rows above and below. I will select this text and make it bold. This is an Arial font, which is fine for our tables. Now I'll add something with our color scheme to the table. I'll type weekly and then press Shift and Enter, and then the abbreviation for schedule. And then I'll change the color to cinnamon and Buddha gold so it matches the rest of the letter. Now I'll pause the video here and fill this table in with fictional leagues that meet either in the morning or the evening on different days. Now that we have our Seniors League, we'll go make our table for the Juniors League. I will spare you seeing the same thing. And now we're back with our table. As we did before with our Fall Food Drive text, we can make any of this text into links. You can set up portals to the events you make for your members. We'll go into event creation in another tutorial. This would be a good place to put links so that your members can get to the sign-up page directly from this email. I've made a sample event, the Teen Leagues, and copied the link to the event page. I'll place a link to that page here. Now, when we click the link within our table, we can see it brings us to the page for our event. Now let's take a look over our newsletter. It looks pretty good, but it could be a bit more informative. We should add dates to these entries. So we go back and underneath each heading, we put a date range from September 17th to December 3rd. And then we'll make it forest green, just to go with our color scheme. I'll do this for the rest of the items here, but spare you from seeing that. So we've seen adding images and links. There's also a button to enter a video. We click the video button in our toolbar. As you can see, it looks for a URL to a video from any of the services that are listed. I have a link copied and will simply paste it. I can select this video and change the alignment. I'll just add some text to introduce the video. Media in emails will not necessarily be allowed in every email service, so be aware that this could be invisible to some of your members. I'm sure you've seen emails with pictures, links, and videos that have been disabled in your own inbox. Just bear in mind that the formatting can be changed dramatically for different users if those elements are disabled, and anything that gets sent out to everybody at your organization should probably be reviewed. For example, this video is visible using the inbox on my administrative site, but not in my Gmail inbox. You can also attach a file. Just click the button here to attach one. Navigate to the file on your computer and then attach it. Make sure to virus check your files before attaching them, and it's always a good idea to explain what an attachment is and why it's there. I'll add some text for that purpose now. I think that's it for our newsletter, but this will be going out as an email to everybody, and it could use some personalization. So let's add some using the mail merge options. Type in introduction. Hey. Now we'll hit Insert Mail Merge field. We can add any of these others. First name, last name, suffix, username, password, 10-cap rating, singles or doubles. We'll add first name. This option inserts whatever we at 10-cap have in our systems associated with the recipient's user account. This will just print whatever they entered into the first name field of their account into the email. So if some married couple, for example, entered their name as The Joneses, first name The, last name Joneses, this would read, Hey Thee. I have some text I've already written that I'll copy and paste over. Now we give our email a look over and do whatever editing we need to do. Now we'll save a draft. After we're done editing, we can send a preview copy of the email to ourselves. This is always a good idea. Emails can end up looking quite different. Never send out a mass mailing without previewing it first. It's a good idea to see what it looks like through an external email client like Gmail, Outlook, etc. Also, you should take a look at the message both at the administrative site and on the response. Here you can see the email we just made in a few different clients and at a few different resolutions. Now we can go back to My Networks tab on the administrator's site so we can see the news bulletin quickly. We will just add a post, and you can see that all the same options we had earlier are here as well. I've already created one with the same elements we used earlier. I'll copy and paste. Everyone on the administrator's site will see this item in their newsfeed when they log in. The newsletter's done, so who are we going to send it to? We're going to talk about different options for creating mailing lists. First, we'll navigate back to our newsletter. Let's click Select an Email List button. It brings up a screen that shows you some lists. There are some automatically generated lists in here and some that have been manually created already. Every club will have all guests, all members, all pros, and all staff. These are different types of user accounts that we can set during account creation. You'll see account creation in future tutorials. We see our Everyone at 10-cap Demo UK is here in the list as well. Underneath that is really active pros who like 10-cap. Then we have Tiana's added members with the description members added after a certain date with 2 members. So Tiana has added 2 accounts individually to her own list. We won't be using any of those. We'll be from the My Networks page under Admin Links. Click on Manage Email Lists. We see a screen similar to our email lists, but with more options. To the upper right, we see a link to create a new list, and we will. We'll give it a name. We aren't going to be using these too often, but you should probably put some thought into the names and descriptions of your lists. First, to remind yourself, but more importantly because they can be seen by other admins unless you change the settings. This one will just be called T-Admins List. Down here is List Access. When we click the box, we can choose whether only this account can see it, whether all the network admins can see it, whether the members on the list itself can see it, which can be useful for giving teams at a club their own mailing lists, or all our network members can use it. We won't add a dynamic filter now. We'll create it, and now we can see it among our other lists. It has no members, so let's click Manage Members. Here's the Locate Person bar. We can just start typing the name of any users that we want to add. I'll just hit A, and as I start typing, users on the network show up. We'll add ourselves and some more names, and that's good enough for now. As you can see, every time we added someone, the screen refreshed and the list saved. So we can now just go back to our email lists page and take a look. It has 3 members. I can add and remove members, removing a member. And here you can see me adding that member again. We have many more things that we can do with email distribution lists. Let's create another new list. We'll call it T-Admins Dynamic List and give it some text. List access is the same, but this time we'll click Enable Dynamic Source. We see many options come up under filter criteria. We can filter by ratings, like a rating between scores, ratings confidence between certain levels, frequency of play, at least X matches in the last Y time. At most, we'll choose 0 matches in the last 12 months. We'll change the title now to Not So Dynamic, and we'll change the text to read Users with 0 matches in the last 12 months. And then we'll create our list. Let's make 2 more lists really quick with criteria that may be a bit more useful to you. We'll make 2 lists, one for active female members and one for active male members, just in case we want to send out some gendered advertisements for male or female only teams, events, leagues. We just change the gender type and then change status to active. We could make many different types of lists. We could even add additional filters by pressing this button if we want to get very specific in our lists. Let me just remove that and save. As you see, now we have 2 lists and both of them have members. Now let's go back, open some mail, and then start to type in our Choose Recipients box, T-Admin. Here's another tip. You have to start typing the actual name of the list from the beginning of the title, not just anything within the list. If we typed active, which is in the middle of the title of the list we just made, our list wouldn't show up here. But since we started typing at the beginning of the list's name, T-Admin, we can see all the lists we just created. You can personalize your own lists by putting your name at the front of the title of each list you make. Now I could select the lists I have made and add them as to CC or BCC. Now that we've made our 3 dynamic lists, let's go to Manage Email Lists, and we can see them listed here as well. So, suppose our member count at our club has changed. Perhaps we get a list to the right of our lists, we hit the refresh button, and any member since the last time this button has been clicked will be added. I've added a few new members. I will click refresh, and you can see that the counter next to the list has updated. It's generally a good idea to update email distribution lists before you send out emails to include any recent account changes. Alternatively, if another admin in your network is working on adding new accounts at the moment, you might not want to update your list. Let's navigate to the Drafts folder in our mailbox and now move our completed newsletter to its appropriate folder. We click the box to the left of our message and then select Move To, and then Newsletters. We bring up the folder and we see our message has been moved. We'll take a look at some of the things that TenCap offers to monitor messages. From within the Newsletters folder, click on the newsletter to bring it up. Scroll to the bottom of the screen. Here you can see a number of metrics about this message. Its sent status, which is currently not sent but in progress. It will display the number of email addresses the system tried to send the email to. Next to that is views, showing you the number of times the message was viewed. Clicks, showing how many times a link within a message was clicked, and bounces, the number of times this message bounced back, indicating an invalid email address. There's a refresh button at the top of this activity summary, so we can make sure to get up-to-date information. These tools can provide valuable insights into the effectiveness of your community. So let's just do a recap. What did we cover today? We covered email. We did in-depth formatting, creating tables, inserting media, creating links, attaching files, saving drafts. We saw that the news bulletin has the same formatting options as the email system. We also covered email distribution lists. We took a look at the automatically created lists that are present in every network. We made a custom list and added members to it manually, and we also created dynamic lists. And we looked at some tools to monitor the effectiveness of your communications.